Please welcome Mayor Barnett.
Well, thank you, Roger. First of all, thanks for such a great turnout today. I'm really, I know most of you are probably here for the free lunch, but I'm going to pretend that it's a little bit to hear about what's going on in Rochester Hills Parks. And my goal is, at the end of my short talk today, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's going to be pretty simple. If you learned something you didn't know about Rochester Hills Parks, I'm going to have you raise your hand, and that is my goal. I hope that every hand will go up, because we have some amazing things going on in our community, and I will rush to get through them. Now, I was told that the title of this speech is 1 Million Reasons to Love Rochester Hills Parks, but since Becky took some of my time, I only have time to go over about 900,000, so you'll have to forgive me for that. And I do want to also say thanks to Sanctuary at Bellbrook. My grandma and grandpa are there, and they thoroughly enjoy it. And by the way, I have to also get out of the way. I'm just seeing my mom. This is going to make me look like a bad son. For the first time today since Christmas, because she just got back from Florida last night. So this kind of counts as me taking her out for lunch, doesn't it? We'll see. I won't get away with that. Well, I have been blessed to be the mayor for the past almost 9 years. On April 13th, I've been mayor of Rochester Hills for 9 years. And one of the coolest parts of my job is the ability I have to interact with our Rochester Hills Parks system. And it is absolutely outstanding. By the way, Roger, thank you for the introduction. And thank you for all the wonderful people, almost at every table, and I won't say anything else about this, for all the wonderful Madonna comments you made, because obviously many of you read the letter and appreciate the support of our community. We have a community worth defending, and I appreciate all of your kind comments out there. So, we'll put her off stage for a while. I want to introduce one other person, and this person, I get to talk, but this is really this person's baby. Blessed to have been able to work with Mike Hartner and continue to work with Mike Hartner. He's the director of our Parks and Forestry Department. He is one of the city's first employees and has been with the city for 36 years. And he runs everything that you're going to see behind me. It wouldn't happen if not for his leadership. So please, Mike, stand up and give a round of applause to Mike Hartner. So I'm going to try and walk around a little bit and just kind of carry my notes. And I think what we'll do, if we do this well, if I'm able to stay on task, which I will, we'll have time for some questions and answers about everything except Tinkin Road at the end. Is that all right? So we'll try and get through quickly and have some time for some questions and answers. So first of all, how many of you have been to a Rochester Hills park? Raise your hand. Fantastic. Okay, that's a great start. I bet that number would go down if I said how many of you have been to at least 3. How many of you have been to at least 3? How many of you have been to at least 5? All right. Well, I'm going to hopefully over the next maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes share with you some amazing opportunities that are probably within 3 miles of where you live. Most of these are free. And how many of you have ever heard your kids or grandkids or even your spouse say, there's really nothing to do around here? How many of you have heard that from your grandkids? I'm going to give you 5 things that you have not done with your grandkids that you're going to be able to do within 3 miles of your house, all as part of the Rochester Hills Park system. So let me jump in. First of all, it was mentioned that, and I should show you this, or you have a map at your table. We provided this map for you so you can kind of see visually where I'll be talking about things throughout the city. So you can, I've heard of Spencer Park, but where exactly is that? You'll see a corresponding map on your table, so hopefully you should be able to follow along with the parks that I'm mentioning, and you'll see some pretty cool visuals. So we mentioned 1 million reasons to love Rochester Hills Parks, and I am confident that I have a million reasons, and that's because we have a tremendous number of guests that visit our parks each year. I'm going to ask you a question. How many people do you think visit the Palace of Auburn Hills on a yearly basis? Shoot out some numbers. 3 million. The number is about 625,000 people visit the Palace on a yearly basis. Meadowbrook Music Theater, about half that, 315,000 people visit Meadowbrook Music Theater on a yearly basis. Home games for the Red Wings, 815,000 people on average each year visit Joe Louis Arena. You know how many visitor days we had in our parks last year? Over 1 million visitor days in our parks. More than the Palace, more than Joe Louis Arena. So that's why I was not intimidated by the name of the speech, because we have had over 1 million visitors visit, as you see, just about 1,050,000 visitors visit our parks last year. Now we have 12 major city parks, 12. And there are some other smaller ancillary parks, some parks in neighborhoods, some green space properties that the city has under its control. But really we have 12 major main parks. And I'm going to only hit on, I think, 6 of those major parks today. And the park that we have more attendance than any of these that you see here, you might not think of it as a park, but it's the Clinton River and Paint Creek Trail. How many of you have visited those in the last year? Look around the room. That's why there's so many people on that trail. It's a beautiful trail, right? Every season is really worth visiting. It's a fantastic place, and we have, I believe, some trail maps that Tara from my team has available if anyone is interested in special trail maps. Now, you should know we've got a lot of cool things planned for the trail. We are constantly investing in the trail, whether it be the surface, whether it be more drinking fountains or bathroom locations, or trying to find more wayfinding and signage. We're constantly trying to improve your experience on our trail. But over half of our residents, when polled, say they've spent some time on the Clinton River or Paint Creek Trail, and that would look to be more than true with the group that's here today. A lot of times when new residents come into our office, in fact, I had a lady came into my office today. She's moving here from Oklahoma. And I said, do you like being outside? She said, we love being outside. I said, then you have to get your family out, either on a bike or on your feet, on the Clinton River or Paint Creek Trail sometime in the next 2 weeks. And she said that was going to be her homework assignment, because I know once people get out there, they really fall in love with this area and what this community has to offer. And I think we have some pictures of the Clinton River Trail behind me. So I'm going to move now to some of our more popular parks. And the first one is the largest park we have. It's, I think, indicated as number 1 on your map, and that is Bloomer Park. Now, how many of you have been to Bloomer Park? Right. Someone asked me, where are my hot dogs, when I was walking around today. Bloomer Park is where we have the OPC summer picnic, and of course it's where well, there we go. Well done, guys. There we are, slinging hot dogs at Bloomer Park. But you know, Bloomer Park is our largest park, about 200 acres. It's actually right on the border of Rochester and Rochester Hills, and it's absolutely incredible. I hope that this has not been your only experience in Bloomer Park, because we have some really unique aspects to Bloomer Park that are pretty fun. Now, of course, in almost all of our parks, we have restroom facilities, we have great playgrounds, but this park has a couple things that you can't find anywhere else. One is kind of unique. You've probably seen this building before. That's the Stone Building, the Stone Shelter. And the Stone Shelter was built in 1939, right, by the Civilian Conservation Corps. 1939. It's probably one of our oldest structures in our parks. And it used rocks and timbers from the park to construct it. So it's kind of a cool thing, and you can rent that for birthday parties, anniversaries, whatever it might be, and that is available. In fact, we're renting almost all of our shelter spaces currently at the park, and if you throughout all of our parks, and if you do it before April 30th, you can get a significant discount on those rentals. But it is a really unique feature, and immediately behind this building are some of the best mountain biking trails in probably 40 miles in either direction, in any direction. Beautiful trails, some incredible steep hills. If you have a daredevil grandson who really wants to try out a new bike they get for the summer or for a birthday, this is a great place to take them and drop them off and say, go at it. It's very safe, but the trails are really a lot of fun, and they get a lot of attention from some of our riders. Now, I mentioned something unique, right? How many of you have ever witnessed or seen a race at the velodrome? Okay, quite a few less. How many velodromes do you think there are in the state of Michigan? By the way, if you don't know what a velodrome is, we brought some video. It's a bike track, kind of like if you've ever watched the Summer Olympics and have seen folks do biking in the Summer Olympics. It's these very steep, high-banked turns. And this happens all the time in the city of Rochester Hills, again, just a few miles from where you live. Now, on Friday nights, they have races, all kinds of races. Races where they do time trials, races where there's teams, races where they, like if I'm on your team, we grab each other's hands and sling each other forward. It's really dangerous, fun. My kids are always rooting for an accident. Don't tell anybody. But, it's really pretty interesting. And you know how many velodromes there are in the state of Michigan? One. This is the only one. So that makes this park really, really unique. And this is a very cool partnership with a private sector group that helped put this in at their expense. And you can come and check out these races. And many Olympians have trained on this. Many folks that go on to do different things in Pan American Games and different things have trained here in Rochester Hills. And if you ever look at the license plates, you'll see them all over from Ontario, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, all over the Midwest to come and train at the velodrome. Very unique thing. And every Friday night, remember one of those things your grandkids say there's nothing to do? Take them out to a bike race. About an hour of your time, I promise you they'll be engaged. Now another very unique thing that the park has is a cricket pitch. And I don't know if we have a couple pictures of that. How many of you have ever watched a game of cricket? A couple hands. All right. Well, this is actually pretty unique because there are not very many of these. This field is in tremendous demand, and every year in July we have what's called the Diversity Cup, where teams from Chrysler, GM, Ford, Caterpillar, and a few other major companies come in and bring thousands of people to watch a weekend of cricket games. And I'm not an expert on this. I usually give away the big trophy at the end, but I'm always hopeful that they don't ask me a lot of questions because I don't totally understand it. Don't tell anybody. But anyway, it is, if you ever want to just experience something different and watch folks, and this is a game that's played by young and old and everything in between. We have one of the only cricket pitches. I mean, the next probably closest cricket pitch is Farmington, I think, or so pretty far away. So again, all in Bloomer Park, all very unique, all very cool, and all very close to your house. All right? Who wants to go visit Bloomer? All right, good. We'll march on now to our next park. Our next park is Borden Park. Now, Borden Park is right at the corner. You'll see, I think it's listed as number 2 here, at the corner of John R. and Hamlin. Now, Borden is named after our city's first mayor, Earl Borden, and is probably our most active park. We have batting cages. How many of you have grandkids that play baseball? Right? What a unique thing to take $5, right, and run down to our batting cages and have the kids hit. We have baseball bats and helmets, and again, I think it's $1 for 15 or 12 pitches, but it's a really unique experience. And again, there's nothing to do around here, Grandma and Grandpa. Well, take them down to the batting cages. We also have 2 roller hockey courts. These are free. Pickup games happen all the time, and they're right down there, right near the corner, actually, of the intersection of the park. This park has our baseball fields, many soccer fields. How many of you have watched a loved one play a baseball game or a soccer game here? Yep, you're probably familiar with it. But we have great basketball courts. We have concession stands. And, of course, our biggest activity of the year at this park is our annual Festival of the Hills fireworks show. I'll move over to this side. So now take a look at this picture. This is from a GoPro camera that we shot up about 2 hours before the festival. How many of you have been to the fireworks show before? Awesome. I hope you guys make it this year. It's going to be fantastic. This camera, hopefully you don't get dizzy, but it shows a little bit of the action. This is our secure area over here where our first responders are. Our bathrooms, very important to know where those are. And then, of course, over here, if they pan to the right, you see some of the crowd. And this is hours before it starts because we had to clear the skies when it got closer. But you can see the tremendous amount of people. We have somewhere between 35,000 and 50,000, depending on the weather, that come to Michigan's second or third largest fireworks show. And you can see the crowds already gathering. This is probably 5 or 6 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock, already gathering for the show. So a great opportunity. This year it's on June 24th. Free fireworks show, and again, we hope that you'll come. We have petting farms, and maybe that cute girl will be back. I'm not sure. Who knows? But lots of things going on at Borden Park, and it's really a great place to check it out. That park's 143 acres, and it's I think our second largest park. All right, moving down John R. Road to Spencer Park. That's listed as number 5. We'll go a little bit out of order here. Number 5, Spencer Park. How many of you have been to Spencer Park before? All right, yeah, I think the OPC has quite a few activities over there. I'll try to keep moving around so I'm not standing in folks' way here. Spencer Park is unique because it has our only lake. And what is unique about our lake is that it is one of the only guarded lakes in Oakland County. There are not too many guarded lakes. If you worked at Stony Creek, you know there's a few of them left, but we have lifeguards, which is why you see so many families with kids playing here. This is a great place to take your grandkids on a sunny summer morning or afternoon because it is guarded, which doesn't mean you can't ignore them, please, but it means that there is some additional eyes in the water, and our team, and I know Mike is extremely proud of this, has had 30 years, 25 years of perfect, no injuries, no significant issues because of the excellent work of our lifeguarding team there. Spencer Park also has, of course, it has the lake, but it has a great changing facility. It has a concession stand. Another unique thing about this is it has a fishing pier. How many of you like to fish? It has handicap access, accessible fishing pier, as well as a boat launch. You can see it behind here. If you are in a wheelchair or whatnot, you can actually get into and use and manipulate the boat dock. Some of the boats have little motors on them. They're very, very slow, but you talk about doing something interesting. The kids are bored, you're sitting in the house. You could have them on the middle of a lake, puttering around with a little motor in probably 15 minutes from the time you have the idea for probably about $6. Not a bad idea, right? So cool things to do at Spencer Park, and really there's a great shelter there as well. And while we've really hit on the summer activities, Spencer Park is also really cool in the winter, right? And I think we have a quick video clip of one of the recent events that was just held at Spencer Park about a month ago. Take a look.
Hockey players are tough to adapt, especially those who play hockey outdoors. Last week, warm temperatures melted ice and postponed the games at a pond hockey tournament. This weekend, the issue is the bitter cold. It's not stopping anybody.
No, it isn't. Will Jones shows us how some players hit the ice for big fun in this brutal cold.
On a freezing day like this, most people like to stay indoors, chill out by the fireplace, and keep warm. But not these guys. They're out playing hockey in these cold temperatures.
I told me to stay at home, so I could stay at home. I spent too many days on the rink when I was watching him when he was a kid.
This father and son, Jeff and Lee Van Slumbrook, have always had a warm relationship, and they'll need it to survive the cold temps at the first ever Spencer Park Pond Hockey Classic in Rochester Hills. It's cold.
It's hard to pick the wind out there, so it's fun though. Have a good time.
This 3-on-3 tournament with 14 teams is put on by the city of Rochester Hills. The winner takes home a trophy and other prizes. Organizers feared the cold would freeze this tournament, keeping players and fans at home.
When we found out it was going to be like -2 and chill, we were like, man, can we still go? And like, we're going to make a good time out of it.
I got 4 layers of the skates. I got about 6 layers on. I borrowed a pair of my wife's tights.
We had to take the days out there so that the whole time to come inside and warm up. We got a couple fires out here.
Freezing or not, this hockey dad says it won't keep players off the ice.
This is just what hockey players do. It might be 37 below wind chill, but it's hockey.
Organizers want to bring this tournament back next year. Hopefully, it will be a lot warmer. On a freezing Spencer Park Pond, Brooke Jones, local 4.
Not sure about admitting that he's wearing his wife's tights on Channel 4, but he may have regretted that later. But, we have some great winter activities, ice fishing. We have a thing with the Boy Scouts where we had, 500 Boy Scouts out doing ice fishing this summer, a couple months ago, this past winter. So lots of cool activities. So I'm kind of focusing on the summer, but there's also some great things to do in the winter as well. So those are our 3 main parks, big parks. And I should tell you that both Spencer, the lake, and Bloomer, with the velodrome and the cricket pitch and the great trails, are both gated entry parks. So you need a pass or to pay to get in. And I'll talk to you about that in a minute. The rest of our parks, there's no charge to go into. Now we're going to move now to, let's see, I think we're going to go to number 5. No, we're not going to go to number 4. We're going to go to the community garden, which is number 7. That's next, right, Jay? Yep. All right, community garden. So I'm going to highlight a couple, 3 or 4 parks real quickly that you may not be as familiar with, just to wet your whistle on some of the things that are available. Now, how many of you have heard of our community garden at Wabash Park? Okay, a few of you. Well, last year, I guess 2 years ago, we came up with an idea to put in a community garden. And the concept of a community garden, you have one right behind the walls here. I think down here the OPC has one, the city of Rochester has a few folks have them. But it's a place where some folks don't have gardens, some folks live in apartments or condos, they just don't have great space. It's a spot where you can go and find some place and plant some things. You see we have in our city, I'm going to turn around, I don't want anybody to hear this, we have a few deer. So we have to have this high protective fence around it, but again, some people say because of the deer they can't plant in their yard, and so this allows us allows an area to plant, and more so than even the ability to plant. It's been really cool. My family and I have had one. We are not good gardeners, trust me, But the camaraderie that happens with people who show up there 2 or 3 times a week and they say, well, how are your tomatoes? Well, what are you growing over there? How do you do that? What do you do with them once you get them out? And it's really been cool. In fact, we've got some great comments about some of the folks who've used the garden. Now, the garden has 72 plots. We put 72 plots in, and we didn't know how it would go because we actually had some people who were concerned that we were putting this in. They said, yeah, maybe this isn't the right spot. Well, let me tell you, in the first year, they were completely sold out. And right now we're on a waiting list for plots at the community garden. That's how much people have enjoyed these gardens and enjoyed what they've been able to experience from them. But you see some great comments from some of the people that we poll them and test them, ask them their experience afterwards. And then of course not only are they enjoying it, but they're doing some good in the community too. I think we have some stats that show that we have more people are eating vegetables, which is important in my family because my mom's here, I gotta say that. And then a good portion of it is donated to the food pantry too, so people have the opportunity. There's a bin there. If you grow 5 tomatoes, you want to keep 3 and donate 2, and that of course ends up at the community, at the neighborhood house or the community kitchen or other places. So this is really a great feel-good situation that has been wonderfully accepted by our community and continues to really do some great things and create some great experiences for our residents and their families. Again, another really great family activity, right? Grabbing the kids and grandkids, renting a plot. I think it's $30 for the year. There's no other cost besides that. You get a gate lock. You get the code to get in the gate, and you come and go as you please. And we grew corn. That was really cool. I have a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old. And the first year we grew some little things, and it was great. Last year someone told us to grow corn, and corn went 6 feet tall. And my kids, it was amazing. We grew that, Dad. It was really a cool experience for them to see and take pictures of stuff that they had planted just a few months earlier that, of course, now was much taller than them. So very cool experience. Now, next park I want to take you to, you've probably been to this park as well. You may not even think of it as a park, but it's number 6. It's Veterans Memorial Point. How many of you have participated at an event or gone to the Memorial Day Parade at Veterans Memorial Point on the corner of Avon and Livernois? Well, this is a point of, or a place of tremendous community pride for our community and for our city. And the story of this park is pretty interesting. It was started by a group of veterans in our community who wanted to have a place in our city where they felt that they could recognize their brethren. And go back to that last picture for a second. See this cute kid right here? It's a cute kid, right? That's Jason's son. See, when you put the video together, you can put your own kid in the picture. See how that works? But this is a great place, and we put a lot of money into the park recently. Fortunately, some of it has been through grants, but we've improved the bridges there. If you haven't been back, we've got some great vistas, and it's really a nice area. We have a lot of folks come by there for their prom pictures, their wedding pictures, and it's really a nice area. You get some fishing there, and actually kayak launches on the other side, and it's just kind of a nice place. It's much easier and safer to get around now because of the pathways that we put on alongside the road. We also have, sometimes you get stuck with a speech, but that's all right. We have really a great opportunity. One other thing I wanted to mention to you here is that you see the bricks here along the bottom. We sell those bricks, and it's a great way to memorialize or honor someone in your family that's either served in the armed forces or has done something remarkable or special or something that you just want to commemorate. These bricks will be at this community corner forever. And we have a lot of great people that are recognized there. That program is open. I think bricks are $55. So a very reasonable way if you and your family wanted to honor Uncle so-and-so or Grandpa so-and-so or whoever it might be. This is a great place to do that, and you can talk to Mike afterwards if you're interested in doing that. And the community gathers there all the time, and those folks are always remembered and honored for their service. All right, marching along. I have 2 more parks I want to mention to you. I think we'll go next to park number 4. Now, you have probably been here, and your kids and grandkids may even have been here. But number 4 is the Rochester Hills Museum. The Rochester Hills Museum is part of our park system, and I think Pat McKay has spoken to this group before, right? You guys heard from Pat McKay? He's the guy who's not very excited about history, very droll speaker. You really got to get him fired up. Oh, he's the one speaker that I don't like following because he is all energy, man. He's the parks, it's the museum, he's really excited. So, but he's got a lot to be excited about because our museum is really special. Our museum is something that's really unique for our region. we have a whole historic district up there. We have a one-room schoolhouse back in 1849 or 1859, 1849, I think it's 1849. And all of the kids in the district spend a day there. They dress up in the olden days, and they go through a class. I've gone through it too. It's very, very cool, very unique experience for kids in the Rochester Community School District. But there's tons of activities. And you may say, Mayor, I've been to the museum. I've checked this one off my list. But I promise you that you have probably not participated in some of the very cool activities and events that happen at the museum. Of course, some of our more well-known events are the Pumpkin Festival, which gets 4,000 to 6,000 people each year. The Wet and Wild Wednesdays. I don't know if we have a picture of that or not. Yeah, we do here. This is, I think, $3, right? Everybody can afford $3. Again, that thing where, what are we going to do this summer? You know, there's nothing to do. What are we going to do? Watch cartoons. Take your kids to the museum. We have the world's, I don't know if it's the world's largest, but no one's going to call me on it. So we're going to call it the world's largest slip and slide. The fire department comes out, wets this thing down, goes all the way down the hill, and we'll have hundreds and hundreds of kids having a great time. We have children's entertainment, singers, dancers. They can make art and crafts and so forth. And all of it is with a pointed eye towards teaching them the importance of history and our community's roots and the important pioneers that came before us, the Van Heusens and all the other folks that have had a tremendous impact in our community. So this is the museum. There's wonderful things going on there all the time. And jumping on our city's website, you can find out, just as I was leaving the city today, I saw there's a program on antlers that our naturalist, Lance DeVoe, is putting on, I think, next week, on understanding deer and antlers and what they mean and how to look for them and things of that nature. So, again, always things going on. Most of the time they're free. We just ask you to register just so we know that people are coming. Sometimes they might be a couple bucks, but usually I'd say most of those things are free. The museum also has, and this is kind of new, I bet no hands would, well, let me test. How many of you have been to an event in our new calf barn? Okay, a couple. We just finished this calf barn, and actually it has two phases. But the calf barn was, if you remember back in the day, go back to that last picture, Jason, if you don't mind, used to just be rubble, used to just be walls right here, and you'd park and walk into the museum alongside of it. Well, we did a community fundraising effort. We raised about $800,000. Thank you very much to our generous community. And we've rebuilt this community calf barn. And we use it now for events and activities. Now you can go to some pictures on the inside. One of the activities that we use it for is weddings. Look how beautiful that is. We put this together. We didn't know how it would go over. And guess what? The calf barn is completely booked for weddings every day, every Friday and Saturday, I think, and Sunday in 2015 and into 2016. So it's wonderfully been, it's been wonderfully accepted by our community. You know, this thing is kind of cool right now, the kind of the barn type wedding, and we've had some great bands out there that have come out there and done some cool things, and people hang things from the trees outside, and they really create this very unique atmosphere to have a very special ceremony. So this is something that you might check out, and we just finished, and actually we have the grand opening of this the 19th or 18th of this month, where now it's going to be climate controlled. So we'll be able to use it all seasons of the year. We have bathrooms facilities in it now, and we have heat and air. So that will make this building not just available 7 months a year, but all 12. So we look forward to having more events, and hopefully the OPC will come out there at some point and have an event as well. So very cool, lots of things. Even if you've been to the museum, there are always things going on in the museum to check out. And again, I've kind of focused this on interesting things to take your loved ones to, but there are certainly some things there that you probably haven't seen before. And finally, the last park I want to go to is kind of unique because to me, it sort of speaks to the future of our parks. And this has been a personal passion of mine for a while. This is park number 3, and I would be surprised if more than 5 hands went up in here if I said, how many of you have been to Riverbend Park? Ooh, 8, 10. Okay, well, I'm surprised. That's good. I'm glad to see that, and I hope that number triples and quadruples over the next few months and years. Riverbend Park is over. Go back to the map for just a second because people may not be as familiar with this park, Jason. This park is near Adams and M59. This is where the Walmart is, right over here. So you come back across. This is the northern side of M59. You kind of got that big intersection here. And just east over here is, was it 70 acres, 77 acres, I think, of Riverbend Park. The city's owned that park for a long, long time. a very generous individual donated $1 million to us a couple years ago to help us begin to develop it. And the park is absolutely pristine. It's got gorgeous wetlands, it's got upland prairies, the river runs through the middle of it, and so we've just started to put some trails back so that our residents, many of them who've never even been back there, now there's a parking lot, and it's under development currently, but some of the views and vistas back there are absolutely gorgeous. And my goal, and our goal as a parks team, is to develop a unique regional asset that makes this someplace incredible to take your kids. And families and experience and your just your loved ones to enjoy the outdoors. These ponds are back there already. There are tons of deer. We have coyotes back there. They don't bother you though. They might bother those guys. But we have just a beautiful situation back there. And the Green Space Board has just recommended, and the city's purchased 44 acres, I think, on the other side of the river. So now we have 110 acres of property in the middle of subdivisions and streets that is going to be protected forever, that we want to make an absolute showpiece in the region. I love being able to say things like, you can't find this anywhere else in Oakland County or anywhere else in Southeast Michigan, and that's what my goal is for this park, is to complement the unique geography and the unique the beauty of the park, but teach our kids and our families about the environment and just have them enjoying being outdoors. So this park is going to change and develop and grow over the next few years as we seek grants and council invests and we kind of continue to work on the plan. But this is going to be a really fun place for you to visit. Right now, if you go back there, you'd think you're in Oscoda, right? You could get back there about a quarter mile back, and it's woods and trees, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So that's another beautiful park, Riverbend Park, that I think you'll see a lot of things happening in the future. So I wanted to quickly, and I think I did okay, to take you through a couple of the different things that we have going on in the park. We asked our residents in our park system. We asked our residents in a statistically significant survey what they like most about living in the city of Rochester Hills. And the two answers that tied for number one was the schools. We know the schools always do very well. And the other one was the natural beauty, the environmental characteristics of our community. And when we talk about that, we quickly find out that people love our parks. Our residents love being outside. They love being in our trails. They love the fact that so many things are available outside of their door, relatively close. Everything I mentioned to you is probably within 3 miles of where you'll go to bed tonight. And I think that's a really cool thing to keep in mind, that these things aren't 3.5 hours or across a big bridge or anywhere. These things are close. And when we have this sort of word cloud, these are the things that people love about our community. And when we ask them, those words that are the largest are the ones they say the most: parks, schools, and the fact that there's a real sense of community here. And I think tying that all together, when you have a great park system, you have great ancillary services like a fantastic library or something like the tremendous services at the OPC. I will never say another speech, I hope, in my life where I don't at least mention this, because we're so proud of this, that because of all these things, we think it creates that great quality of life and allows us to be recognized as one of the top 10 places to live in the entire country, which Money Magazine gave us that designation this past year. So that's something that we're really proud of, and we think that our parks system plays a major role in that recognition. The last thing I'll say before I take your questions is that Mike Hartner, who's sitting over here, has brought park passes. Park passes are $10 for an entire calendar year if you're a senior, and $10 if you're a senior and you're a resident, $20 if you are a senior and not a resident. That allows you unlimited access to every park, including Spencer and Bloomer Park. So if you are interested, he has them over here and you can see him. Raise your hand, he'll probably even travel around if you're interested. And if you want to buy a parks pass today and put it in your car and begin enjoying some of these things, you're more than welcome to. So I will stop now and answer any questions that there may be.